GM, thanks for tuning in today. My name is Josh Gordon. I'm your host, and I'm joined by Mohak, founder of ClayStack. How you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Josh. I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I am great. It's another week in Web3. I'm just excited to be here because I'm learning all the time. It's fascinating keeping up with the space, the innovation going on, and I think that the conversation we're going to have today around what you're building and staking and liquid staking kind of contributes to all of that. So if I'm talking to experts in the field like you, I'm doing well. But let's start off for everyone listening. Can you give us a background on yourself, and then we'll dive into ClayStack and what it is you're building. But how did you get into crypto in the first place, and what really led you to be a Web3 entrepreneur?
Sure. Grew up in India, have always been super intrigued about finance. Started my first startup in e-commerce space right before the college. Got a lot of experience in the whole supply chain management, real time. And this was a time when there's no e-commerce in India at that time. Like there's no Amazon, Flipkart was selling garments. So it was a lot of fun, like selling around $250,000 at that time. Then did my education in computer science. And then after that, got a chance to work in education technology space for a couple of years, then game development. Again, like super fascinating because building mass consumer products for people ranging between the age bracket of 5-year-old to anyone who can use an iPhone. So that was fun. Then got a chance to work with a couple of hedge funds in option hedging models. So when I got to know about like crypto, the thing that really intrigued me was it was such a tight coupling or amalgam of finance and technology that gave me like lot of edge. So started my journey like most people, buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, bunch of ICOs. Then I started my own fund to invest in early stage projects. Then transformed that fund into a staking as a service company. Got a chance to work with a lot of amazing teams, founders at super early stages of their network. At peak, grew the delegated capital at stake to $200 million. Then at that time, in somewhere about like 2020, liquid staking was a theoretical concept which was being discussed a lot, but there's no one like who was practically kind of building on it. There was a couple of small projects who were trying to solve it. I just wanted to kind of use liquid staking for my layer one assets. So I reached out to those projects and did not find the architecture like scalable enough. Then I was like, okay, this needs to be solved. And that led me to start ClayStack.
Okay. No, great background, and awesome to hear the development there. And man, 20 million, that's an impressive
200.
fund you were able to build. So ClayStack, I got a description here to share for the users, and then we'll dive in. But ClayStack's a decentralized liquid staking platform that enables you to unlock the liquidity of staked assets across multiple chains. So you can stake your assets and use the issued staking derivatives across the DeFi ecosystem. So I think like a couple of things that jump out to me off the bat is, I'm familiar with staking, but can you dive into more, what is liquid staking?
Yeah, of course. When you stake any asset that you can, whether it's an L1 asset or even like any governance protocol, what happens is these assets get locked. Anytime you want your assets back, you have to wait for unbonding periods. And that leads to so much inefficiencies that you don't want to even stake at the first place. What liquid staking enables you to do is you are able to kind of stake these assets and then the liquidity is available to you all the time to use in DeFi. It's like, having a fixed deposit that you can unlock at any given point of time.
I'm trying to think about it now. So when you say you can unlock it at any given time, is that because traditionally with staking, there's like time period lockups?
Yeah, it ranges like from different for every network, but it ranges between like 2 days to 1 year or even higher in the case of Ethereum, where it is still unknown when the unstaking will be enabled. While liquid staking, what you can do is you can always trade these staked assets that you get across like multiple dexes, liquidity pools, or wherever like it's available. So what happens is, let's say you have an asset like Matic. If you stake right now, the asset gets locked. Anytime you want your Matic back, you have to wait for unbonding period. Versus when you come to ClayStack, you deposit Matic, you get CS Matic in return, which is completely liquid. So you can go in the market and sell this asset, and at any given point of time, if there's like not enough liquidity, you can always come back to the platform and redeem the asset at the full price.
Gotcha. So you said originally, like one of the reasons you started ClayStack was because you wanted this solution when you were looking at DeFi exchanges, right? And I'm kind of curious, why did you want, a liquid staking solution during your trading?
I mean, if you see right now, if we are talking about like the across the across the crypto ecosystem, which are the healthiest assets or which are the most productive assets? It's layer one assets, right? And right now, like there hasn't been there's always been a trade-off of signaling value by locking up assets by and utilizing their value or ability to earn back, right? And people have overcome those trade-off by actively managing those assets. For the first time, you don't have those trade-off, and a layer of value can be built around those productive assets. An example of this would be staked assets as credential for any implementation of a, let's say, trusted network. You can create a messaging app, community forum, or even entire social platform using staked assets to solve for security, spam, misalignment, or misaligned behavior. So kind of to simplify it a bit, in the sense that, let's say, this might sound like a bit crazy because it's like super long term. But what can happen today is that imagine a network where you are able to, let's say, it's a gated network or gated social media platform where if you have staked, let's say, 1 ETH, then you can enter, right? You're still earning all those yield. There's no one like stopping you to kind of earn those yield. But anytime you have like a misaligned behavior, you start spamming, you do any actions that were not intended, then your stake gets slashed. So that gives like such a huge value to kind of the staking ecosystem. Now that's like on the vanilla staking. What liquid staking enables you is being able to kind of maximize yield. So for example, right now when you stake any asset, you earn whatever yield that that platform or that chain is offering, let's say 4%, 5%. Now, if you are able to, let's say, open a collateralized debt position by depositing that staked asset as collateral and taking a loan at a price which is cheaper than the staking yield. So essentially, I've just now enabled an interest-free loan without any liquidity mining incentives. So that itself is like such a cool use case that it kind of enables further use cases in DeFi.
Yeah. Now, I think a lot of people associate DeFi with risk, especially with some of the, downfalls we saw with Terra, and obviously they were promoting, through Anchor Protocol, being able to get pretty decent yield when you stake assets. Now, what is your kind of response or thoughts on the risk associated with liquid staking? I mean, I feel like the first time I read about it on the website, I almost thought to myself, okay, does this mean, I'm just somehow magically turning 1 ETH into 2 ETH? I have my 1 staked ETH and 2, my liquid staked ETH that I can then use in other parts of DeFi. Is that not like getting 2 for 1?
No. Actually, that's not the case. The only thing that you get is for example, if let's say the yearly yield is 5%, and you were the first user who used the platform. So let's say you deposited 1 Matic, you get CS Matic. I'm just using Matic as an example. It is true for every asset that you're going to support. But let's say you deposited 1 Matic, you got 1 CS Matic, and let's say the yearly yield is 6%. So by the end of the year, CS Matic price would be 1.06 Matic. So no, it's not 2:1. And in terms of the risks associated with liquid staking, there are primarily 3 risks. One is the smart contract risk, which is true across DeFi. Then second is the slashing risk. What happens in staking is, when you stake these assets are staked to a validator, which ClayStack kind of amortize that for you or abstract that for you. But if any time any of these validators get slashed, then people have to lose their assets. And then the third is depegging risk, that if the staked asset that you have got drops a lot in price comparison to original asset, like we have seen this happening to STETH, it still hasn't been able to recover the peg. And at peak, like it was down by like I think more than 15%. So these are the 3 primary risks. But ClayStack, at ClayStack, like we take like security very, very seriously. And as you said, like two for one, like a lot of people, when they go to any platforms, they see like 50% yield, 100% yield, all these shiny liquidity mining yields that they see. They jump right to it, and you gave a very good example of Anchor. And a lot of times it's not sustainable, and the governance token that you're getting is being dumped left and right. The price does not sustain, and all those yields you never kind of actually materialize. It's just that something that you see on the platform. But for us, we take like security very seriously. We do like couple of rounds of internal audits before even sending the contract for audits. Our auditors have publicly tweeted that the quality of code that ClayStack has written, they don't find it often. So for us, that's very paramount.
Totally. I mean, so I feel like staking is going to get more common over the next couple years, especially because we just went through the ETH merge. How do you feel like the merge and the narrative around going from proof of work to proof of stake really changes the conversation? I mean, is that kind of looked at in the DeFi world as a positive change since staking might become more mainstream?
I think now, definitely, like after the merge, it has got like a lot of attention. Every person now knows, like a lot of people don't know the details, but at least they know that Ethereum has went from proof of work to proof of stake. And the advantage of that is now, like the whole network, I mean, obviously the energy consumption has gone down and everything. But for us, we have been like looking at ETH definitely very, very seriously and very, very closely. And any liquid staking protocol that has launched pre-merge, they had to make a lot of compromises on the architecture, a lot of trade-offs. Like even the biggest protocols have just kind of made it happen, but they have a technical debt to the protocol. Versus us, we have been planning to release the announcement very, very soon for our architecture for ETH liquid staking. And what we are aiming is that, like currently there are two major protocols for ETH liquid staking in the market. One is not decentralized enough, and second has hit scalability issues already. And we want to create an architecture which is scalable enough and well decentralized to be able to kind of use by users.
Okay, so talking about some of the merge details a little bit more, is there anything that you can give us insight on, just because I think you're kind of a staking expert, into, how is the merge going to affect ETH yields for people who are staking? And this might be whether you're running your own validator or even if you're staking on ClayStack, like what should the yield you're seeing from staking ETH be? Because I've seen it range so much, and I'm really not sure how anyone predicts this, or if there's a go-to resource where you can see what the yield is going to be, or if that's just determined by like different liquidity pools.
So the thing is that the yield is a derivative of a lot of factors. Okay. So right now, if you see, only around 12% of ETH is staked. Like the whole market cap of ETH is around like 160 billion or something or so. Okay. And around 20 billion are staked, or 19.5 are staked. So the staking participation hasn't been enough yet. And what happens is that the staking yield is inversely proportional to the amount of tokens staked. So the more people stake, the less will be yield, because now it has to be distributed amongst more people. So that's one factor. Second factor, which has been obviously discussed a lot, is MEV, miner extractable value. Previously, what was happening was all the MEV value was going to the miners, proof of work miners. Now, all that value will be coming back to validators. Now, it depends upon those validators if they're going to give back to stakers, or the middleware protocols which are building on MEV. Are they want to give back to like users, or they want to keep it? But most likely, because this space is like brutally competitive, so everyone will, I think, redistribute it to users only. So that's second. Third is the amount of activity that the network generates. If you have seen in the high traffic times, the gas price was like 200, 300, 350. Everyone wanted to mint that particular NFT, or want to kind of do that transaction right there itself. But right now, the gas price hasn't been like very high. It's usually like 10 to 15 goe. So all that value now goes back to to the validators. I mean, only the priority fee, the base fee gets burnt. So that's third. And then the fourth is that obviously the less ETH is being issued now because there is no block reward, which was being given to miners for like every 12 to 14 seconds. So these are like a lot of factors, but it's very hard to predict the right yield. And anyone who will try to predict, I think the number would not be accurate. But I feel like it should be maybe kind of above 5%.
Above 5. And what
as long as like
of
100% people don't stake. If 100% people are staking, then network has to do a lot of activity than it currently, which is also, I think, justifiable. We all like, I personally believe the market is going to go 10x in couple of years, and that is not only in the prices, that is in the activity and everything.
Yeah. And what like percent of ETH do you think could be staked one day? Because I mean, maybe with platforms like ClayStack, you could eventually see a world where like it's 100% or a majority staked because people are able to use their liquid staking assets elsewhere.
Right. So what we have seen till now is, I think a lot of inspiration can be taken from like other alt L1s because there the staking, the unbonding periods for staking has been like low. So a lot of people like have staked as high as even 70% or 75% on some of the networks. On ETH, the staking participation has been particularly low because there hasn't been like, there has been like a lot of unknowns. What happens is, even if like, let's say the period is 1 year, 2 year, then after 2 years, I'm going to get back my asset. But when it's unknown, a lot of people don't want to jump on that wagon. But I believe that with liquid staking becoming one of the most prominent things to revolutionize DeFi, the staking percentage can be as high as 80%.
Awesome. 80%. That would be pretty phenomenal. I hope to be staking some of my ETH soon as well. I was waiting for the merge to kind of settle down and make some moves from there.
Yeah,
but
because imagine
thanks for that.
Imagine what's gonna happen is like eventually a lot of ecosystem products will be built around liquid staking. Like imagine a structured yield product which can take like endowments, pension funds worth like trillions of dollars. Right now, I mean, I think there's one more risk that I did not mention in liquid staking. That is the price risk. Which is not like liquid staking, which is staking. That imagine you stake any asset which is worth $1,000 right now, you get 5% yearly yield, and the asset price goes down by 50%. You just lost like 10-year yield right away. And that has also been like a reservation for people to kind of stake. Now, if you solve that, which is not insanely difficult, you can obviously you can always hedge by running like naked charts or even complex strategies. But someone will build structured yield products around staking where you're getting like stable yield of, let's say, 4%, 5%, which is sustainable, not governed by user demands, not governed by liquidity mining incentives, which is the real yield, the real game. So I think when those products starts popping up around liquid staking, then it's going to be huge. And that's what we are like planning. Like couple of our competitors, the approach that they have taken is building a lot of like mercenary development, in the sense that, hey, like you take $1 million, you build liquid staking on X chain for me, take $1 million, build on Y chain for me. The decision that ClayStack has taken is that we are never going to outsource the development of the core protocol. Rather, we'll give grants to build ecosystem products around liquid staking. Because the biggest risk that a lot of times, like in the short term, protocols don't realize is when you go multi-chain approach, if anything happens on one chain, it affects every chain out there because of the brand value, even though technology is isolated. But like imagine if like you get hacked on Near, then it's not like Polygon users are gonna feel safe. They'll also feel concerned. So that's why we have taken this like choice that we're not gonna outsource the development of the core protocol.
Good to hear. Yeah, and it definitely sounds like you're thinking about, building on multi-chains versus, just one.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. And so I'd like to talk about too, the login integration from Unstoppable Domains. And just to give a little bit of perspective here, so you can now log in with an NFT domain on ClayStack, right?
Yes, and that is awesome. Like I think it removes a lot of friction for people. And what we like, the approach that ClayStack always take is on a lot of user feedback. Just an example, I'll come back to this. Just an example, when we launched our first testnet, we had 30 users. We took feedback from users. We launched the second testnet called Malawi. We got 22,000 users invite only. Then we took feedback. We launched the third testnet. We got 75,000 users on testnet called Victoria. So that's what we're going to do this on this as well. We're going to do like a lot of testing, take a lot of user feedback. Is there anything that people want to kind of see it like, or is there even a better way to do it than it is right now, and kind of relay all those suggestions to you guys as well.
Yeah. And so you talked about removing friction, and is that friction in just the user experience in terms of logging into your account versus with an NFT domain versus like connecting your wallet and potentially exposing, yourself to risk? Or is it being able to exchange information from, a user and, an application like yourself?
Yeah, I think like I think it's a mix of like actually all those things you kind of like answered it yourself very well. So it's a mix of or combination of all of those things.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious, like the feedback you said you request from users. One of the use cases of login that I think we're still really experimenting with ourselves and gathering feedback from is the ability to connect your NFT domain and connect like on or off chain data with it, and an application requesting access to that data in exchange for promotions, rewards, or just some kind of beneficial user experience. Like, do you see that taking place with ClayStack, or is privacy and that exchange really not something, because it's not common yet in Web3 and crypto, something that maybe users aren't ready for?
Yeah, I think some people are too emotional in even like giving their email, like they feel like it's invasion of privacy, but always there are users who would be comfortable with that. For example, so at ClayStack, we have this massive community. Along with ClayStack, we have a sub DAO called ClayClan DAO, whose agenda is to educate users around liquid staking. And there's like a very fun community. They play poker together. One time, like one guy went on a beach, drew like massive ClayStack logo. They have like welded ClayStack logo and all of that. And this community or this sub DAO consists a very diverse variety of people. So I'm pretty sure that there'll be like some people who would be very comfortable with it, and some people who would not be. So as I said, like as soon as we announce this and see like what sort of like things that users are liking and what are the possibilities that they see moving forward. But I see like definitely it has like huge potential.
Yeah. No, good to hear. Definitely interested in that feedback as well. And one thing I'll just throw out is with our email feature with that can be requested via login. So you can actually set up a private email that is associated with your NFT domain that like forwards emails to your personal email account. So you can maintain your email's privacy through an NFT domain still. So definitely, but there's definitely still an exchange of data that's happening, right?
And I'll tell you like the problems that we face. Initially, we like as everyone like or as like coming from, we were like, hey, let's everyone fill up your email IDs. And we used email as a communication channel. The problem with that was every time we announced on Discord that, hey guys, we have sent an email about this, like at least 5 scammers sent emails at the same time. And then like a lot of people are like, oh, now I am receiving 6 emails. And some of the people like even did not realize like which ones are coming from ClayStack. They can change like L to I or kind of all those sneaky techniques. Then we're like, how do we like make this communication happen? And at that time, Discord seemed only the right way. But it's great to hear that you guys are like working towards things which can make it possible, which might not be or which wasn't possible before.
For sure, lots to build right now as we're getting ready for that 10x future that you foresee. Well, Mohak, this was informative for me. I learned a little bit about liquid staking today, the benefits, the risks, and then what I can do on your platform. But for anyone listening, can you share where we can follow ClayStack or find more information about what you're up to?
Yeah. So one is like the ClayStack blog, where I write frequently. The team write frequently. So that's a very good way to kind of learn what's happening at ClayStack. And then our Discord, which is very open. We're very again open for feedback. Third is the Clayclan DAO. Anyone who wants to hang out with a cool community, Clayclan DAO is a way forward.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, for being a great partner with Unstoppable Domains. We appreciate you, and I'm excited to hear your feedback, as I know the team will be too, on what your users are really thinking with the login product. You know, what people want, because we're here to help provide that. Focusing on the Web3 user experience is so important. So thanks for joining us. And if you're listening on YouTube, please leave a subscribe and a like on the video. It goes a long way. And be sure to join. Be sure to look up ClayStack if you're looking to stake some of your Web3 assets too. I think it's an exciting platform. All right, with that, we're out. We'll catch you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.